I'm not gonna lie, quite a few tears have been shed this morning. Leaving Portugal today for what seems to be like probably at least 3 months, and leaving Jody and the bunny family and the studio and everything, legitimately, yeah, that was tough, but yeah. Anyway, I'll explain later. Before we get into it, today's video is sponsored by Squarespace.com. Squarespace is the spot for photographers to build a website. Not only does it have a lot of really nice templates that photographers can use to make really professional looking sites really quickly, but there are so many tools to help you grow your photography business itself. And you can integrate your Squarespace website with e-commerce tools. For example, to make selling your images really easy. And of course, there are loads of blogging tools to help you with your SEO or to help build a community on your website. So head to squarespace.com/BrendanVanson to get a discount on your first purchase. Now, I'd like to say I don't have words for how it feels to be leaving Lagos, but I have too many. A jumbled mess of stress and fears, a cacophony of anxiety, a wobble of hope. I've never left home before. Up until this year, I've never felt like I had one. Leaving Lagos feels simultaneously like running full steam off a cliff and a necessary chore to put my life together. It's a long story, but let me walk you through my headspace as I attempt to travel back to Canada. You see, I spent 11 years of my life building a business, a brand, a community, a life. I went from crippled with debt and sleeping on beaches in Brazil because I couldn't afford a hostel bed, to great adventures like stowing away on an iron ore train in Mauritania, or driving a scooter all the way down Africa. I went from begging magazine editors to give me a chance at a $20 article, to being published by some of the biggest publishers and brands on the planet. I poured my sweat, tears, and my life into this. Then, about 18 months ago, my house of cards came crashing down, like it did for so many. I didn't know it at the time, but my business would lose over €500,000 in gross revenue. 18 months ago, I believed it'd last a couple months. But the never-ending weight of this pandemic has kind of felt like being told you're gonna run a sprint, only to find out you're in a marathon. It's been emotionally overwhelming. So with 11 years of building crumbled to the ground, I did the only thing I know how to do. I built a life in Portugal. I started a family, although with longer ears and furrier bodies than most. Come say good morning. Come say good morning. Good morning, monkey. I built a studio. I built a coffee shop. And along with Jody, we built a community. We built ourselves a home. And I absolutely love that home. I love that life I've built in Portugal with every ounce of my being. But I also knew that at some point, my new life and my old life would collide. And I knew when it did, it would hit me like a frozen turkey to the face. So as I sit on this flight to Toronto, it feels confusingly like deja vu in a dream. I'm sat in business class, riding on awards points accumulated from back when business was good. But instead of going somewhere I've been dying to get to, I've left that place. And yes, after over 2 years without seeing my Canada family, I'm ecstatic to see them. But right now, the world feels like a tug-of-war, and I'm the rope. Back in Canada. First time in, I don't even know when. So many emotions. Home sweet home. Finally, the mask is off. I'm gonna explain what the hell is going on and why I'm in Canada and why I'm not gonna leave this room for 72 hours. You know what? Let's make some coffee and then we'll talk about that right now. Okay, it's nice to have good, like, freshly ground coffee when you're in quarantine for 14 days. Don't have to drink that packaged Starbucks stuff. I'm in quarantine for I'm here for 3 days in quarantine at a hotel and then 11 days in an Airbnb. I want to explain what's going on because it might seem like a little bit random that I'm here in Canada out of nowhere for you guys. But for me, this is something that's a long time coming and something that I've been dreading, but know that I need to take care of. So today was tough. Like leaving everybody behind, leaving my family. That's my family in Portugal. Jody, the bunnies, the guinea pigs, the business, that's my family. And I feel very honored to be able to say that, but also so overwhelmed to be so far away from them for so long. And I'm gonna get to what the hell I'm doing in Canada and why I'm here and why I'm so emotional about this pretty soon. Actually, no, like right now. And I also kind of just want to talk about the direction of things. I had this thing about this channel about 4 years ago, basically when I started dating Jody, that I wanted to take the personal side out of the channel because I felt like it was getting a little bit invasive and stopping me from having a normal life. I want to start infusing some of the personal back in because I feel like it's time, and I feel like my channel has been getting super stale, just being like, here's a sunset, here's a sunrise, here's a sunset. And I kind of want to try to make this channel to be what it was when I started it. And yes, when I started it, it was rough edited, it was pretty bad audio, but it had that documentary feel that this is the behind the scenes of the life of a photographer. This is a documentary of a travel photographer's life. And I want to bring that documentary feel back to things. So there will be changes to the kind of the format of things, of the videos moving forward. I think is going to be a positive thing. Yeah, so there's that. Okay, what the hell am I doing in Canada? Yes, what the hell am I doing in Canada? I kind of feel like that. So basically, let me explain my situation in Portugal. It might explain this better. Jody and I had this grand plan 2 years ago to move to Portugal. They had this visa called the Family Reunification Visa, in which a family member, somebody that was married, for example, to somebody that was a resident of Portugal, can get a visa to live in Portugal. That was our plan this whole time. We were planning on getting married in May, but of course the pandemic made getting married impossible. And in Portugal, you can only get married if you're residents. So our plan was to do like a civil wedding in the UK or Canada, but because of travel restrictions and such in all of these countries, we just couldn't go get married, which was problem number one. It turned out it didn't matter anyway, because problem number two arose about 2 or 3 months ago. We had a meeting set up for August 2nd with the immigration people, but the lawyers who are working on my immigration sent me an email saying, because of Brexit, things have changed in Portugal and they're no longer accepting family reunifications from British citizens that are resident in Portugal. And the reason is because they wanted to try to do these biometric residence cards, and if you have one of those, then your partner can become a resident, but they haven't issued any of these residence cards, and we had no idea when they're actually going to be issued. As a result, I couldn't make my meeting. As a result, I couldn't become a resident. As a result, I was now overstaying my Schengen visa in Portugal. And as a result, I had to legally leave Portugal. So with my lawyers, we've now decided that we're going to take a different route, doing a business visa with the business we've started in Portugal. But of course, with my life, it's much more complicated than that. For one, I've overstayed my visa for Portugal, which means that until I have a visa, I can't go back there. I'm stuck out of the country until I have a residency visa. Number two, you have to get that visa in your home country, which is Canada. Number three, you have to be vaccinated to travel into Canada without quarantining. But I couldn't get vaccinated in Portugal as a non-resident. So now I've flown to Canada. I have 3 days hotel quarantine, then 11 days Airbnb quarantine. It's gonna cost me about 2,000 euros for all of those things, which sucks because it's not like I got money right now. And then, one, I can go and get vaccinated, or at least my first dose, and 2, I can have my meeting with the embassy, at which point I can start the residency visa process. But it is a 60-day process. So it's August 6th today. The earliest I could have that meeting is basically August 21st, which means that the earliest I'll have that visa potentially is October 21st. But of course, I'm going to be in Namibia for my photography workshops for a whole month of October, which means that even if for some reason it's early, like October 5th or 6th, I've got to go to Namibia, then all the way back to Canada, and then potentially go back to Portugal to see the family. Which means that I'm going to be away from Jody, I'm going to be away from the guinea pigs, I'm going to be away from the bunnies, and I'm going to be away from the business for a minimum of 3 months. And that's not easy. Jody and me got kind of used to, not seeing each other all the time when we were traveling. But it was always 10, 12 days, and we always knew exactly when and where we'd see each other. Through the pandemic, we've been at each other's hip since March of last year. So like 16 months straight of being side by side every single day. And through that time, we've built so much. We've built a business, we've built a home, we've built a little family, even if it's with pets. To me, it's a family. That's a true family. And maybe you don't really understand that unless you've had pets. And I didn't when I was a kid. I never understood the love you can have for pets. I have that. That's my family there. And I'm away from them for 3 months. And I've just been an emotional wreck all day today. And I'm just so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed by everything. And I just know that this is something I need to do. It's something that needs to happen so I can start checking off the various requirements to get to that life that I have in Portugal with Jody. And I can't wait for that to happen. And I know when this is all done, it's going to be stabilized and then it'll be easier. But it is really, really tough right now. I don't even think I really fully understood it until I was driving away in the taxi today. But it is what it is. And I just know that when this is all done in November, everything's going to be awesome. I had that amazing life of travel and photography that I built. And then Jody and I built that incredible life in Portugal. And I know that in November, they're finally going to come together and meld. I know that's finally going to happen, or at least I hope that's finally going to happen. And that's exciting. But it just feels like a lot has to go right for that to happen. And it feels like a long time. So that's where I'm going. That's where I'm heading. And that's, kind of what's happening over the next couple months. I'm in quarantine, as I said, for 14 days. I think I'm probably going to do another video from quarantine. Then once I'm released from quarantine, there will be a lot of videos from Canada. I'm going to try to, as I mentioned, document life a little bit better than I have in the past. And try to incorporate photography into documenting my life, kind of the way I used to do it on the channel. So I'm excited for that, even if I'm really not excited to spend 14 days trapped in 20 square meter spaces. And I guess I'll see you guys the next time I post, which hopefully is fairly soon. I'll see you guys there. Peace.